Hello, travelers, and welcome to March 2023. I know you guys haven't heard from me in a while. I got the March readings posted early. I think I posted them last week, so I'll make sure to put the link uh, down in the description box in case you're new and you haven't seen them. This is going to be an open reading. And when I say an open reading, what that means is that I'm not reading for any specific sign and I'm not asking any specific question. What I am doing is simply opening the cards and allowing the cards to tell the story. If you are new to my channel, I want to welcome you and ask you to stick around. Please subscribe, like, and share. And for those of you who have been with me since 2015, I want to thank you for sticking around. I have with me today the Radiant White deck, right here. I have with me the La Vida Sibila for clarification. And depending on what the story is will determine what oracle card we will wrap the reading up. I will say that I like to give my open readings a 2-week time frame. And we have both the full moon and the new moon coming up this month. They will be falling across the Virgo Pisces axis. So on the 7th of March, we'll have the Virgo full moon. And on the 21st of March, we will have the Pisces new moon. Okay, and I think we just had a Pisces full moon last month. So it's kind of reversed. Anyway, let me go ahead and turn the camera around. I've been, trying to started to get some spring stuff done. But I went the whole month of January with no trimmers, and then February was kind of iffy. So I will be finally, keep your fingers crossed and pray for me, able to see the, the neurologist on the 28th of March. Now, they keep changing it, but I hope that this is going to be it. So it is what it is because it can't be anything else, right? All right, so let me turn the camera around. I have already done some meditation and shuffling, asking the cards to speak strong and true about whatever it is that they choose to speak strong and true about. Okay. If you are interested in receiving a reading, if this reading seems to resonate with you, you can always contact me there at hiddenlotustarot@gmail.com. I have the, the pricing packages in the About box section of the channel. So that lists the minutes, the number of questions, and the price. And then simply email me and say, hey, Tara, I want the 45-minute reading. And then I will respond back to you. I do ask, if you don't have I do ask that you go ahead and add my email address to your contacts, because most times it will come when I respond back, it'll go to your spam folder and you miss it. So if you're gonna book a reading, go ahead and add my email address to your contacts, then email me, and then I'll respond back. My turnaround time is between 48 to 72 hours. I don't like to make people wait. So we're gonna give one more shuffle, and I'll repeat all of that at the end of the reading in case you missed it all. So let's put one more rifle on these. And cut the cards. 9 cards down. Here we go. The Lovers. Oh, wow. The Hierophant. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh. And the Tower card. Wow, big energy right off the bat. Okay. Representing the planets Mercury, Venus, and Uranus. Next row, the Two of Swords. The Seven of Swords. Wow. Big, 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 big. The Nine of Wands. Last row, the Nine of Swords. Yeah, okay, well. The Queen of Cups. And finally, wow, the Ten of Wands. This is quite the interesting reading here. Really, it is. So I have two nines. Let me read it off to you. 2, 5, 6, 7, two nines, a 10, an 11, a court card, and then number 16. Okay? It is always important or notable when the numbers repeat themselves. So I have the two nines here. As you can see, I only have one court card. I have three major arcanas across the top. I have three swords, two wands, and a cup. This is quite interesting. What is the energy over the entire reading? Well, now, it is the Fool card. Well, quite interesting. Right in the center, I have the Seven of Swords. Now, normally, most people will describe this card as the card of lies, deception, treachery, whatnot, and that can be true. But sometimes I've seen the card show up when it talks about delays and disappointments, arguments and tension. It speaks about the idea that if things aren't going to plan, it is usually because you are distracted mentally and you're rushing around and not making plans in the manner that you should. But I'm going to be honest with you. What this feels like to me is a relationship issue. Okay? And when I say relationship issue, this could be a business partnership, a romance, a familial relationship, and even a friendship. Because right across the top, I have these three major arcana cards. The major arcana cards are our spiritual lessons, and one major arcana card holds more sway than all of these pip cards, the numbered cards, put together. Past, present, future, interplay of the cards. And when I say past, I mean near, distant past can be yesterday to last year. Near, distant future can be tomorrow out till 2024. So it all depends. There is no timing in the tarot. Everything is happening around this particular Seven of Swords. And the Lover's card, although it can represent a quote-unquote soulmate reunion or soulmate relationship or karmic relationship, it can be either the type of relationship that is really, really good between two people, or it can be the kind of relationship where there is a mismatch of energies and there's disharmony. In other words, the two people don't need to be together, or perhaps they should not be together. Okay? But more than anything, the Lover's card is about a choice. It can be the idea that to be careful in making choices, because once you make one choice, right, it kind of closes the door off to another pathway. So you want to make sure that whatever choice it is that you make is the correct one, because it will have far-reaching consequences and affect the future. The Hierophant, the card of social morals and social values. Traditionally, the card does represent the idea of marriage. It also represents the idea of someone receiving higher knowledge. It represents a hierarchy in the sense that there's one person over other people. Here you can see the two acolytes here. And if not a marriage, then a contractual issue. But then we come to the Tower. And the Tower, to me, sitting next to this Hierophant, when I say the social mores, this is the idea of doing what society says you should do, and doing it in the manner in which society expects you to do it. But along comes the Tower to effectively pull the rug out from under you. The Tower card can be just that. It can be it's the only man-made structure in the entire tarot deck. Okay, so what that means is it represents the idea of those structures that we have built up in our minds or in our lives that we believe are secure and stable, and then we find out that they are not. So this can be the aha moment where lightning strikes. So that's what that means, or that's what that, that's why that happened. It's about a sudden insight. I've also seen the card show up when someone has an emotional outburst where they just kind of blow up. and things crumble and things fall. But the beauty of the Tower card is that it is an indication that every once in a while things in our lives will have to change, and if we don't make um, actively try to change those things, then it will collapse. But what happens when it collapses is that it leaves us a brand new open field upon which to build. Two of Swords. This is a card of perhaps trusting your intuition. But I've seen the card show up again. It is about choice. That is what twos are about. Choices, options, decisions, being at a crossroads. Sometimes even in opposition, being opposed within yourself. I don't know what to think about this. I don't have enough information to make a decision, so I'm going to decide to do nothing. And even doing nothing is a decision, okay? This is also one of the hoodwink cards. Is somebody lying to me? Are they deceiving me in some manner? I don't know. I can't see what's happening. But this card, for me, her left eye is not covered all the way or fully. So to me, this card always is an indication of exactly. You can see exactly what's going on, right? Swords represent thoughts, belief, perceptions, ideas, and communications. This could also be where two people have had some kind of miscommunication, or there's been unsettling news or unsettling talks or communications. I don't know what to make of it. Sitting next to this Seven of Swords, I would say for someone out there, indeed, there has been some kind of perpetration of deception or fraud, theft, what have you. As you can see, these two swords on the back are these same two swords. Okay? Someone has done it in broad daylight, but even still, it goes back to, if the plans are not working out in the manner in which you thought they were, it's because maybe you have missed something. You have not been mentally focused or mentally clear. We come to the Nine of Wands, and there's been a fight here. I think there's a huge blow up. There's a fight. And the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is the card of having already gone through a battle. Maybe you feel tired. You may be beat up. You may be bruised. But this has to do with your passion, your focus, your determination, your desires. The card indicates that you have enough strength to get back in there and fight. And I would say that it happened rather quickly, because behind this wand that he's holding are the Eight of Wands. Again, some kind of message or some kind of news that has come in to put you in a position where perhaps you have felt beat up. Over to the Nine of Swords. This is the card of tears, anxiety, unhappy situations, unfortunate situations, a focus on playing things over and over in your mind, insomnia. This card can also be the indication of a guilty conscience, right? Oh my God, what am I going to do? And it's keeping you up at night. This is what I find to be interesting. Here with the Queen of Cups, no matter if you are female or male or identify with either of those roles, this particular Queen of Cups, what she is speaking about is being in your feelings, emotions. That's what the cups are about. So this is a situation where you can't do anything but kind of sit down and go through the emotions, or feel the emotions, or sit with the emotions of what has happened or is happening. And finally, we come to the Ten of Wands. Now, the Ten of Wands, first, it's a 10. So it says that there is a focus on completion of events, okay? That the crisis point has been reached, that things will be changing. But this is a heavy lift for some of you. In fact, you go from the Nine of Wands to even adding an additional wands here. So this card can be the idea of taking on the responsibility of other people. But in doing so, what you do is you rob them of the opportunity to learn about karma, the law of cause and effect. This can sometimes be the idea of just being overworked or overtasked, having too many things on your plate. And they always say that in order to get through this, that some of you are going to have to move. That's what's coming across. Why do I say that? Because I have the two nines here. And here there is the indication of a house there. So this is a struggle. You trying to get to a new abode, or finding out after this blow up, that you're going to have to go to a different address or location. Um, so 2 9s can be an indication of a house move or a change of address. But 2 9s can also be an indication of one of you needing to spend more time alone. Okay? And I think that's what this is here. Now, over the entire reading is the Fool. The Fool card is about new beginnings, right? It is about stepping out on nothing but faith. This 2 card represents the idea of Uranus. And I have Mercury here. This card represents the planet Mercury. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So this really is, in a sense, mental energy. It is highly charged. I think there are fast-moving events that are occurring here or will be occurring here. As you can see here, you know, to me, this is like the breakup happens, you know, for a moment. I didn't even see it coming. And then the idea of having to move on for some of you, okay? So what am I going to do? But, you know, there's a warning about this particular card, too. It's not to be foolish, to again, to me, this is saying trust what your intuition is telling you. See, the individual has their eyes closed and they're kind of looking off into the distance. Kind of like this card. He's got his eyes closed, but he's looking in an opposite direction. I do feel as though this has blindsided some of you. I think what I find interesting is from the 2 to the 7 gives me the 9, but from the 7 to the 9 gives me the 2. So to me, it's kind of almost like a circular thing. Now, sometimes this card can be an indication of if you've had an argument or a disagreement with a friend, you're going to get an opportunity to, you're going to find out ultimately what that was about, but also that you might get an opportunity to reconcile, but the reconciliation will not be an easy one. And when I say reconcile, I don't necessarily mean getting back together, although that's a possibility. By reconciling, I mean you're going to have to reconcile what has happened. It is more heavily weighted towards mental energy, so I think there's a lot of either messages, news, emails, texts, facts, conversations that are happening, more like arguments, okay? But that still may not, and it will resolve itself at some point, but it's going to be a heavy lift. I'm sorry, I keep repeating that, but that's what's coming across. I'm going to turn this card over because I am unable to gain any additional information as it relates to these 3 cards at the top. And this is a March reading, so we're talking about the beginning of March. So for someone there's going to be a huge, expect the unexpected. That's really what this card is about, okay? Something that you believed in, something that you thought was solid, safe, secure, was going to stick around forever, if not a long time, will be collapsing. Whether this is a job, a marriage, a friendship, a place to stay, it will be collapsing. So let me, and look, this is not always a bad thing. That's what the Fool is saying. For some of you, this is going to be a new beginning. All right? For those of you who may wish to try to ignore, because I've got a lot of figures here with their head in the sand and their eyes down, and okay. I think the message would be that you should get in touch with the reality. Okay? So we're going to start with the 2 of Swords here. Well, this card, it kind of has swords all around it, but it's telling you to remain open and receptive to loved ones as they have the best intentions at heart, and their advice is feasible, viable, and comes from a place of love. Do not reject offers of help. Now, I don't know, I don't see any help, and to me, this is the idea of doing it on your own. Difficult decisions and choices. It indicates weighing up the pros and cons. It can also be an indication of a stalemate in your affairs and a feeling of not knowing which way to turn. Where emotions are involved, it speaks of mixed emotions and a feeling of confusion. It may be foretelling of unsettling communications. The key to achieving a compromise is by open, honest communication, and do not allow prior grievances and bitterness to influence the communication. It can be an indication of a power struggle. The indication of the breakdown of a once close relationship, and there's a need for urgent, balanced, rational approach to the situation. It also says it is implying that calm and thought must be taken when making decisions and choices. Take the time to consider all options carefully before making any firm commitments. Putting off choices until you are absolutely positive it is the right and most appropriate one. Remember, we're talking about the choices up here. The Seven of Swords. There is an influence here with the Fool. Can be indication that you are currently acting too flippantly and inconsistency, and there may be a need to be more positive and stable. Now, somewhat like this card, it can be implying that you are carrying a heavy load or burden upon your shoulders. Therefore, you are asked to delegate responsibilities to others and not take on other people's responsibilities, for as this denies them the opportunity to learn the lessons in regards to cause and effect. I just said that. It may indicate that dealings may be dishonest or not straightforward and direct. Be particularly aware of all proceedings and remain cautious. This card can sometimes be an indication that you or someone else may feel obligated to behave in a way that is not direct, but which you accept, hoping that the end will justify the means. It may be warning you that your plans will not work out at this time due to circumstances beyond your control, and you may need to look to alternative options or means. Upset plans, postponement, delays, and cancellations, as though everything is going wrong around you at the moment. It tells of the possibility of tension, arguments, disagreements, and misunderstandings within a current situation, and can even imply someone spying or delving into issues that are not their business. But it doesn't tell me anything next to these cards. The Wands. Now, the Nine of Wands next to the Ten of Wands denotes negotiations regarding real estate, property, buildings, rentals, buying, renovation will be fruitful in the near future. Well, remember I said somebody's going to be moving. Somebody's going to be leaving. Somebody's going to have to find another place to either work or stay. Okay? This card asks that you use discernment and discretion always. It is a 9 and indicates there could be a suspension of events. But if this is the case, you have the advantage at this time. Now, that's what's interesting about the 7. The 7 too is this idea of not necessarily a suspension of events, but it's the idea of questioning oneself. A bit of doubt, stopping for a moment. If things aren't working out the way that you want them to, then you need to stop what you are doing and reassess your plans. True? Okay. The Nine of Swords. Let me go back. Tells of a preoccupation with past experiences, particularly those of a hurtful or painful nature. We see it here. Sad circumstances, unfortunate events, and ongoing unhappiness. It also suggests dark thoughts, nightmares, and troubles of the mind, even though the actual reality may not be so negative. Remember, you need to face reality. It is a message to be patient as better things are coming soon. Therefore, you are asked not to try to rush things at this time as you may hinder your own progress. And then finally, doesn't tell me anything next to these cards, the Ten of Wands. So focus on completion. Doesn't tell me anything here with this Ten of Wands. But what it does indicate, oh sorry, that's a Ten of Swords. Let me go back to the Wands. With the Fool, there it is. It is telling you to look carefully into a situation as you may have misjudged or miscalculated a situation that needs reconsideration or correction before it is able to come to positive fruition. It indicates a dark time in one's life, or the darkness before the dawn when nothing has seemed to go as planned, leading to frustration and stress. You are asked to be patient and tolerant and not to use your powers unwisely. This card is indicative that you will overcome difficulties using tenacity and perseverance, but it is essential that you come to terms with all aspects of your life. It also tells you to prepare yourself to be calm and strong in the face of unexpected events or situations so that you are able to deal with them accordingly. Well, there it is. Let's go to the Sevillas. First thing I want to look at is the Seven of Swords in the center. What is this card really all about? Is it just the idea that that someone's been lying? I mean, and this could be in the case of a property thing. Maybe you're trying to purchase property and someone has been lying to you about certain things. Usually, if that is the case here with this particular card, it will be a structural issue. So you might want to get another inspector out there, you know, pay for it out of your pocket. You can always deduct that amount from the purchase price. Okay. But something is just not right. The stanza. The pensiero. And the disgrazia. Well, let me take a look at the Tower card, and then we will get to the some kind of meeting. The stanza speaks to a meeting. This involves kind of any kind of meeting, but it can sometimes be an indication of two people who know secrets about each other. Spying, what do you call it? Espionage, like with patents and trade secrets, things of that nature. But we see the card of meditation, so thinking about whatever this thing is, because whatever it is, this is a second Tower card. It is the disgrazia. That's a second Tower card. Public humiliation, tears. It doesn't have the same meaning as this card. The vedovo, the widower, the viaggio, and the l'amica. Now, a friend. This friend can be a colleague, a sister, a neighbor, can be anybody, can even be you. A neutral card. But as you can see, she is returning from a trip. This just indicates travel. This travel can be in connection with anything. Business, vacations. There's another card that would point to that. But what this is saying is there's a return, this friend, to this vedovo. Now, the vedovo is the widower card. And here's what he's all about. He is the Three of Spades. And I'm going to just give you some general information about the Veuve de Vaux. It is a negative card. It can represent someone over the age of 60, but not necessarily a widower. The person can be single and or unmarried. It represents sadness, remorse, and regret. It is a card that represents loneliness and isolation. It predicts a lack of support, lack of affection, and even an inability to open one's heart to love again. It indicates difficulty in interacting with other people and warns of difficult times ahead. It can indicate dislike, hatred, and resentment between two people. You will feel left out in the cold, as if there's no one left to help you, as if someone has pulled the rug out from under you. Remember, that was one of the first things I said about this card. In love, it heralds arguments, rancor, incompatibility, separation, resentment, or a relationship devoid of true love and growing apart. In financial matters, and this would include property matters, it can indicate the financial collapse of an unsuccessful ending of a project that meant a lot to you. This card, the Veuve de Vaux, usually entails making a life-changing decision and breaking away from something or someone. Metaphorically, it indicates estrangement, deprivation, absence, a lack of some kind, and moving away from a situation or a person. And it happens out of the blue. It's almost like the card is saying you come back from a trip and he goes, hey, I don't want to be with you no more. And then we come to the stanza card. It is the Ace of Coins, diamonds in this particular. Now, usually it denotes friendships, two people who know each other very well, and indicates a best friend. It is also a card of confessions, of secrets, classified information, of privacy, and of trusting someone with secret and or very sensitive information. One of the oldest meanings of this card is it is connected to your social life, which could be this thing. Okay. It is a dynamic card, and it indicates situations that are rapidly evolving and will bring a different set of events. Therefore, the card tells of upcoming news, developments, and maybe even possible visitors. If you have been waiting for a response and or for news or a package to arrive, this card says it's coming. But we can see here, maybe this is what the pensiero, you're waiting on this. This card is simply a card of meditation, thought, study, calm, a rational mind. Remember, you're being asked to get all of your ducks in a row because we see that something is changing. And this is followed by the Disgrazia card. Great turbulence is about to enter your life. It heralds the arrival of a traumatic event for which apparently you are blameless and which is caused by outside events and people. This is a superficial meaning. And in that sense, it means that sometimes, metaphorically, sometimes what has happened to you is not fair. Sometimes, right? But more often it implies that you have failed to learn from past mistakes, or that a mistake from the past will be coming to exact payment in the present. Again, you are going to feel like a hapless victim of circumstance and completely powerless. It indicates a drastic and radical change for the worse. Something will never return to the way that it used to be. In personal relationships, it heralds a painful and sudden separation, sometimes violence, and maybe perhaps the loss of a family friend or member, or just the unexpected loss of a loved one. In financial matters, it heralds a sudden and unexpected dismissal, repossessions, foreclosures, embezzlement, bankruptcy, and problems with the taxman. This is a card that represents destruction. It also indicates really grave mistakes that will be paid for dearly. Now, I stand by what I say. This to me looks like a complete breakup, a sudden separation. This can be any type of relationship. I'm going to pull a Psychic Oracle Tarot. Whatever this thing is, someone will be leaving. Someone will be looking for a new home, in which case, if this is the case, you should not have that much difficulty finding a place. If you are in the idea of perhaps buying the property, then perhaps maybe you should double check, as I said, get a second inspection or a second set of eyes on the contract. This is definitely a contractual issue. What is a marriage if not a contractual issue? Choosing to go into contract with someone and it blows up in your face. And right now, some of you are not seeing this, okay? So it is recommended that you get clear on the choices that you want to make, that you need to make, so that you can start over again. Psychic Oracle Tarot. Spiritual union. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? This is the overall energy of this card. It deals with relationships involving an emotional bond. It could be between new lovers, kindred souls, family members, friends, business associates, or partners. It can even relate to a project or a specific situation. This would be the perfect time to realize that all relationships are really about you. How many times do I tell you guys that? That the most important person in any relationship is you. Notice when you interact with different people in your life. Are they giving you energy or taking it away? Is there an even exchange? There should be an equal balance between giving and receiving energy. Relationships are mirror images of your own life. They reflect how you feel and treat yourself and how you react and respond to various situations and individuals around you. Each and every union is an opportunity for soul growth. This card deals with self-values, right? It deals with not just societal values, but the values that you have in your own life about partnerships, contracts, right relationships. Okay, so looking at this card, you think, oh, well, she's talking about the Two of Cups, and this is, you can look at it and say that, but this says that that's coming to an end. Basically, what this reading is about, the overall message is that you're going to have to determine through discernment, perhaps a bit of pain and separation, what is the best choice for you, what is the best option for you, and what does that all mean for you, right? It can be very difficult sometimes when people break up with us or we have to break up with other people. But as I say, if the relationship has run out of road, it has run out of road. And so you're going to be faced, someone out there is going to be faced with the choice of what to do. I don't think some of you will have a choice. I think somebody's going to tell you they want you to get the hell out. Okay? That's what it is. Be well, stay safe. I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye.